Hello there and welcome back to Midlife Crisis. I'm Cheryl. I'm doing a different scenery here. I'm coming in late a lot of times. As I came in, I just thought, let me sit and get one or two videos out. I think what I'll try to do from here on in is to just, do more than one video at a time. My schedule changed a little and I'm trying to adjust to that. So, I just have a little rough spot here and there, but we'll get it going. We've been getting a lot of ongoing comments on abusive adult children. I'd like to touch base with that now, so don't go away, okay? So what can I say on this topic? It is just very painful. From a parent's standpoint, we raised our children, we didn't create their minds. We have an idea of what we put into these individuals, but everyone does at a certain time decide what kind of human being they're going to be. I don't understand why one would choose to disrespect a parent, and I can comfortably say that because I lost my mom 2 years ago. But I never blatantly disrespected my mother. In fact, the way she was, it would be lethal to try and do that. But it was not something that I felt comfortable doing. I'd speak my mind. I'll give my opinion. But there was a line that I knew not to cross. And not for nothing, that's just the way I went about it. And I am surprised of some of the feedbacks that we're getting. That parents actually have to come to the point where they are shutting down completely, like loathing their seed, their child. That's pretty sad. It has to be serious stuff going on for a parent to harden their heart to that point where they want to have nothing to do with their child. That's serious stuff. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that can cause a parent to harden their heart to that point where they want to have nothing to do with their adult child? At this point, all I can say to the parents is to just try to turn the other cheek. Ignore what's taking place and move on with your life. I know it's easier said than done, but you have to come to the point where you cannot spend too much time thinking about all the wrongs that's happening between you and your child or your children. It's a very painful thing to deal with, and I am talking from experience. You have to come to that point where you are focusing on you and what you need to make yourself happy, what you need to have your peace. And it's not as easy when you have your children, your adult children, living with you. Now you have to come to the point where you have them removed, or you're just living in a cat and dog situation. There is nothing to say on that. I mean, if it gets to that point, you do have to make preparations to have your child or your children removed from the home. There is a reason why this thing is called home sweet home. I mean, these are your children, but you have done your job. And if they are in your home and they cannot respect it as such, then they need to be removed. They need to be asked to leave because you've already done what you needed to do. And if it is where they are asking for that support and living in the home, then they have to have that respect. I mean, you cannot play around with this thing at this stage because you're talking sicknesses here. The ongoing stress that you can have if this thing is not put under control is not healthy. It is not healthy for you or your adult child or children. So make that arrangement. If the respect can't be in place, I don't want to say if they can't follow your rules, they have to leave. There has to be some level of respect. There has to be a line that should not be crossed. Do not give in to the abuse. You have already done your job. I cannot believe some of the stories that I'm hearing, and all I can say each time is that it will get better, because it will. But in the interim, you need to do what you need to do to maintain your peace, to have your health, and to have your happiness. I mean, there is no reason to prolong the situation if it's not working. If they are in your home, then you are doing that individual a favor in helping them. So there has to be some compromising, and the respect needs to be there. Do not lower your standards with that. Don't ever stop talking. I mean, I am saying it will get better, and it will, but not while you're having this situation. You have to part ways. Because, I mean, when they're away from your house, you can work with it. It's a lot easier to deal with, as opposed to them being in the home and being disrespectful and abusive. That's a big difference. So if that's what's taking place, then I'm not going to encourage you to work with that. There is nothing to work with when the individual or individuals are in the home and they are not showing that respect. You can't work with that. Adjustments have to be made. And that's just period. Okay? We did our jobs, and we can't account for the bad behavior. There seemed to be a misconception, like when I'm talking about this, that I'm actually siding with a parent that's misbehaving, that's not doing the right thing. That is not where I'm going with this. What I'm saying is that your parent needs to have that level of respect. No one is saying that you can't voice your opinion and you can't, be open about how you feel. What we're talking about is blatantly disrespecting your parent and being abusive. Like, I'm not going to the point where whatever your mom or your dad is doing, because they're a parent, they're entitled to do that. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about you acknowledging the fact that you have to respect your parents. I know that we have our moments. We're not always doing the right thing, but we are who we are. There's just certain things you do not do, and that is going hand in hand with your parent, disrespecting them, being manipulative and abusive. Like, the punishment for that is severe, and I would be careful. I would be really careful with stuff like that. And on the parent side, what I have to say to you is that do not run yourself into the ground with this thing. It is what it is. Try to keep the situation under control and make sure that you are not being pulled too much out of your character, because these are adults now. They're not children. They're supposed to know better. It's unfortunate that they don't, but someone has to be in control, and that someone has to be you, because you're the parent. I'm saying this, but I came out of my character. It can happen. It can happen because certain things you're not expecting to have to deal with your adult child or children. You are being put in a position where you have to really be conscious and be, really mindful on not being pulled out of your character. We don't know why this is happening, but it is definitely a predicament. It is a predicament. I cannot believe how many parents are complaining about this thing. And what did we do to deserve this? A lot of times, just putting in that 105% is what caused it. But be that as it may, this is what we're dealing with. And so we need to cope with it as it's happening. Work on staying in control and focusing on you and what you need to keep yourself healthy, balanced, and happy. We're at this stage where we need that. So just work with the situation the best way you can. And if your adult children are in the home and they're not doing the right thing in respecting your boundaries, then they cannot stay. You do need to make adjustments to that, because that's not going to be a good thing to deal with on an ongoing basis. When they are out of the home and they are being disrespectful, you can manage that, because you don't have to be dealing with them one-on-one. But if they're in the home and they are not being respectful and being abusive on top of that, then that should not be tolerated. You have to make some changes with that. Okay? Check us out at midliferises.com. Do subscribe to the channel by clicking on that bell icon. I'm going to revisit what we were trying to do before so that we can take this thing to another level. You guys need a little more support with this thing, and it's good to be able to talk about it. So I'm going to open up that channel soon. But in the meantime, try to do you, and don't put up with any unnecessary stuff. Don't do it. You don't have to at this point. Okay? You've already done your job. So that is my advice to you. Do not try to tolerate any bad behaviors. They're your children, but that's not something that you should encourage. Not at this point. Okay? Check us out again at midliferises.com. Do subscribe to the channel by clicking on that bell icon, and don't forget to like. Thanks to all of my subscribers. There is a donate button on our website. Give us your support, and we will see you next time. Okay? You take care now.